everyone. Welcome back to TV Guys, the show that we're in a hurry, so we're going to skip the one-liner. I'm Matt.
I'm Brian.
I'm Paul.
And we've got another great episode. So we are doing, again, our rankings that we've done before a couple different times. And, of course, because we're doing rankings, we got to bring back one of our favorite guests, Paul Risdall. He's back, ready to talk about Better Call Paul, as his name says.
Yes. The show is named after me.
I knew it. It was great. All right, so we've done this before, but for those, if this is your first time hearing one of these episodes, what we're going to do is we've got 32 names. There's technically more, but 32 selections because some of them are doubled up, you'll see. And they are all characters across the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul universe. And so we grabbed the 32 top ones we thought to grab. Special shout out. Well, I'll give a shout out to a couple that aren't on here in a minute. But what we'll do is we'll start with Paul, and he's going to pick who is the 32nd worst or best, I guess, 32nd best character in all of Breaking Bad. And that'll be the name at the bottom of the list. Brian will go next. I'll go third, and then we'll just keep repeating that until we get to the number 2 and number 1. And along the way, just to keep each other honest, we've got to make sure that no one's picking someone low. If Paul starts us off and says Walter White is 32nd, you can better believe Brian and I are going to use a veto to say, no way, you got to pick someone else. So then he doesn't get to pick that person. He will get to pick a different one, but that will then, he'd have to wait until the next time around to be able to pick that character if he wanted to, so to speak. Did I describe that well, guys?
I think
Sure.
we each have 2 vetoes to use up, right? And then once they're gone,
Correct.
they're gone.
Once they're gone, they're gone. So
Yep.
then that'll be the definitive list, and we will know who is number 1 based on popular selection. You know, that's how they do it in the government too.
I would be shocked if vetoes get used in like the first half of this list, because I think the top half is full of so many good characters. It's going to get tough, but the bottom, I think, is
There's some obscure ones.
Yeah.
yes, but I don't think anyone's going to be like, oh no, 32, that's my number 1.
I will say, I think like my top 20, like I love all of those characters. Obviously, there's some that I want to be in the top 10, and if some of my top 20 gets picked in like 25 or 26, I don't think I'll balk too much. But there's a lot of really good characters that I love. A couple that didn't make the list, I give a quick shout out, and then we'll jump in. Is we didn't include, for instance, Nacho's dad. That guy's a G. We love him. Ernesto, who helped out Chuck and brought him all of his stuff. Ernesto was a brother. He was awesome. He's a guy. He's bro. That's what it is. He was also a brother, I guess, because he was black. There's also Erin, who worked at Davis and Maine. She was the kind of Saul's guardian, babysitter, pretty much at a certain point.
Yeah.
She was noteworthy, but didn't make the list. We also have Omar at Davis and Maine, who was more Saul's lackey, his assistant. And then Jane's dad as well is not on the list. Those are a couple of the majors. I was like, these are worth mentioning, like these characters, but they're not in our top 32.
One more honorable mention would be the vacuum cleaner guy, the disappearing man, played by Robert Forster, who
Sure.
I probably would have put him on the list if I had remembered him, but too late.
now he's not. And don't worry, all 3 of us looked at this list too, and Brian's like, hey, did we miss anyone? And we're all like, no, we're good. And then today I'm like, well, maybe we missed a couple, but we don't want this episode to go on too long. So
Brian, you can put them on the list if you want to use one of your vetoes.
You just want me to burn veto so I don't have any.
Paul's going to start us off, vacuum cleaner guy. Well, Paul, why don't you pick a fight? Why don't you... Paul plays this strategically, too. He doesn't...
I do.
He respects the game element of this. So let's see who's Paul is going to try and bait us to veto.
I was gonna try to do something clever right off the bat just to piss you guys off, but you know me too well. So I'm gonna just, even though maybe this wouldn't be like my least favorite character from an acting standpoint, he's a terrible character in the sense that he's a horrible person on the show. So I'm gonna go with Jack Welker, the neo-Nazi gang leader, because if you're a Nazi, Yeah, I think you're gonna end up at the bottom of the list most of the time. So I think it's a safe one.
Well, there are also, I think, to be fair, there are going to be some terrible people high up on the list too. But Jack, it has the problem that some shows do. They bring in an antagonist too late in the show to be like iconic.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's no really redeeming qualities
No.
there. He's
No,
just terrible.
I think you're right. The acting of it was good, and I think he was an intimidating villain. But you're right. That was so little. It was so late. You know, like, oh, by the way, there's also Nazis. I'm like, wait a second, guys, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
But he's actually not the lowest villain that I had on my list. I had him closer to 26. So, Brian, who do you have for your number 31?
Well, my lowest one wasn't Jack. It was not even a villain, a character who just ultimately I had to look up to make sure I knew who this was, which is Andrea, Jesse's second girlfriend, just because she's not as interesting.
Yeah. You're going to have these characters that it's more about what they represent for the main characters than it is about them as a character. And that's
I actually
Andrea.
liked Andrea. I thought she was decent.
She was decent, but I mean, ultimately she was not nearly as memorable as many of these other people, and that's kind of what I'm going for. Memorable over I like them.
Yeah, the most memorable thing about Andrea was both her death and then the one thing that she had with Jesse, where she's talking about when her brother was shot, or no, when her brother was taken as the gang.
Oh, that was her brother? I thought her brother was the kid who was poisoned.
Maybe it was her cousin, but she's related to the kid that shot Combo, right?
Oh, that's right. And then he got killed. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So even then, the details of her family tree, I don't quite know. It's just that it's more what she represents for Jesse than it is anything else.
Yeah.
All right. So this might be unpopular, but this character I've always hated. Like, the actor does fine, and he's a little bit better in Better Call Saul, but it was so... I had such a reaction to him, and not in a positive way, but that was Tuco Salamanca.
What?
Wow.
Whoa.
Whoa. Tuco is your number one?
As my number 32, I had him on the list.
I might have to veto that. Tuco, okay, I'm vetoing that. Tuco is such an iconic villain of the show. I mean, I don't like him as a person, but I mean...
He was so
way
unhinged,
higher.
And it was uncomfortable for me to watch how unhinged it is. And I get that that's part of the point of this coked out guy and what Walt's getting involved with at the very beginning, but it was too much for me.
I have Tuco at 12.
I thought he was I thought the guy who played Tuco just did a phenomenal job, and he was I thought he was a really creative character. I would have had him ranked very highly too. So
he was our first big villain that we knew of.
Who vetoed that again?
Brian did.
Brian did. Brian. It was all him. But Paul would have. Paul would have. Brian,
I think he's
out of the fence.
I think he's happy that I did, but
I'm happy that you did. I wouldn't have used mine. All
right. There is no way anyone's going to veto this next one. Then, so for number 30. Again, characters that it's more about what they represent than who they are, and that's Gretchen and Elliot Schwartz.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think they're just completely fine for, like, they propel the story when we needed it for the background in both season 1 and then in the final episode with Walt having a way to get the money to his family. But it's really they're where Walt has taken a half measure before in his life. Yep. And he never decided he's going to do that again. And that's the point of their characters. And that's it.
Yeah. They were important enough to include on the list, but yes. I had them fairly low as well.
I think Elliot is in a total of 3 episodes, like 1 in the first season, and then a very brief glimpse in the penultimate episode, and then the season finale. Gretchen shows up 1 or 2 more times.
She's in a couple more flashbacks, I think.
Yeah. So that's my pick. We're at number 29 for Paul.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with the guy on the list that I literally had to Google because I couldn't remember who he was, and that's Rich Schweikert.
Oh,
This is where I had him as well. This is weird that I'm agreeing with Paul. I don't know if I like that or not.
okay, I'm. See, I had him high. I had him at 15 actually, because
Was it
I love
15? Wow.
I love
He's a good
Schweikert.
actor, but
But I think Schweikert and Cliff Davis, they're like right next to each other. They would be like one and two of, like if you say Schweikert at 16, then Cliff would be at 15. That they're very similar characters in terms of they
you mean Cliff
give
Maine?
yeah, they give Jimmy the professional courtesy to attempt to do things in their way, but to still be his creative self. And they're professional and they're good at what they do, but at the same time, they like how do, I don't know the best way to describe them, because I really just appreciated what they represented for the law world of Better Call Saul, of how the rest of the law world sees Jimmy, not how Chuck sees him. Does that make sense? I stumbled over a lot of words here.
I get that, but there's just so many good characters on this list that I couldn't see putting him above most of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. Whatever. I'm not
You're
going
gonna
to
let it
waste a
slide, Matt?
veto on
You're gonna
freaking
use it?
Schweikert, but it's.
All right.
I have a soft spot for the guy who doesn't know what world they're in, in a show. Like, he doesn't realize all the things that are happening with the cartel and Jimmy and all that sort of situation. So he's a little bit of a straight man in a dramatic way to the insanity of what they're getting involved with.
Yeah.
So,
all
right.
My pick. It's my turn, right?
Yep. 28.
I don't know if this is going to be controversial or not, but I'm going to pick Kirby, who was Bill Burr's character, like one of the duo of him and Huel. He was good at what he was doing. He was like the mouth, while Huel was like the muscle. I think, but I just think he wasn't around enough to warrant getting any higher. But I did like him, and as a comedian, I like his comedy.
Yeah, I got no issue with that.
And I think that's where I had him higher. And one of my issues of having him higher is because I like Bill Burr. So, I mean, you give him a little bit more grace because you like the comedian behind the character.
It can be a tiebreaker if you got two people who are really close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind. I mean, it's kind of a fun appearance in this series that he plays this role, but yeah, the character isn't anything super special. I kind of agree with Brian on that one.
That's fine. I'm surprised though that he's in above who I'm gonna pick for, what is this, 27? Or is that where we're at?
Yep.
I won't say Tuco. I'll be nice and I'll give it one more round, and just a spoiler, I'll say Tuco in a little bit. But this round I'll go ahead and pick who I had right at 29 instead. But that is Flynn, Walter Jr. Another example of a character that he's almost more of a meme. Like, if you look at the people who follow, like on Reddit, the things about Breaking Bad, his meme is the breakfast stuff. He cares about breakfast, and so they always joke about him and his breakfast. He's just oblivious to what his dad's doing. He has a little bit of agency in the later seasons, but it's still very limited. And again, he's more about what he represents for Walt than he is his own character, especially being named Walter Jr.
Yeah, that's also why he said he had to go by Flynn. He's like shedding the I don't want to be associated by being Walter White.
Yeah,
with that, but
it's just losing his family. That's Walt Jr. is when Walt loses his family. That's the litmus test for us.
Yeah, our first series regular off the list.
Wow.
All right,
yeah,
Paul.
I'm okay with that. I can live with that. Okay, I'm gonna pick a relatively big character, but she comes in later on, and that's Lydia.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
And here's why. I find Lydia interesting in the sense that, like, she's not a typical villain, but there is a little bit of an unbelievable quality to her character being this bad guy, and I don't know. I think in some ways they were trying too hard to like get somebody unexpected in that role, and I don't know. I just didn't buy it. So
I think that she also, kind of like Jack, we introduced her too late in the game, and we didn't really need to, I didn't really need to see like the nuts and bolts of how Gus Fring was able to get everything done. We got from the previous seasons that he has this vast network, and then from her it's like, hey, let's introduce the person who actually makes it all happen. And it just wasn't as necessary, but I do like her character, and her like fear she had for Mike made me like her than I thought it was going to originally.
Did you have her higher too, Brian?
No, I actually had her right where you put her. Again, I don't know how I feel about agreeing with Paul so much in this list so far.
Listen, don't worry, there's lots of time, Brian. There's lots of time.
The writers of Breaking Bad did not, unfortunately, write strong female characters, and she ends up being the highest ranked female character for Breaking Bad that I put on the list. I have her higher than Skylar, and I have her higher than Marie.
Okay, so and I kind of understand that. This actually reminds me back when we did the Office ranking years ago, how high I had Jan compared to everybody else, because Jan's not like one of the big characters, but there was something about her character that I thought did the show a huge service, and I think that's probably a comparable thing to how you're feeling in this moment.
I mean, they took Monica from Friends and they made her evil. And like that's this character to me. And like even though she comes in late in the game, like you said, they do so much with her in the course of 5 or 6 episodes that it really warrants, like how Mike describes her. He says she deserves to die as much as any man I've ever met. Like she really is skeevy, but in a vastly different way than any cartel members that we've bumped into up to this point.
I don't buy it though. To me it's not believable.
All right. Well, fine. I don't want to use my vetoes. You guys keep taking all my teen characters. All right. Well, fine. I'm just gonna keep going Tuco until you give up. All right. Are we on number 25? I think we're at 25.
I think it's my pick, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with a character who I think it just falls in the category of a good character, but too many villains, and that's Don Eladio, like the head of the cartel. Because I mean, you get his power because you get people like Gus and Hector, who are both very, very much like no one bosses me around, and he's telling them what to do, and they're listening. Well, until Gus kills everybody, but until then, but I don't know. He kind of felt like a hollow character at that point to me.
He doesn't have a lot of episodes. He has more in Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, we get introduced to him the same episode he dies, I believe, in Breaking Bad, right?
Was it? I don't know. That show jumps around, and both those shows jump around in time so much it's hard to keep track.
I like Don Eladio because he was definitely like the cocky, very sure of himself, but you also know that this guy could kill you in an instant if you wanted to. It's the I say jump, you all jump sort of presence he had. So that's why I had him just a little higher than this, but I still had him in the 20s.
Okay.
I'm fine with it too. I might be Don Eladio.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, number 24. We're gonna kill Tuco here. He's off, right? Oh. Tuco 24.
I'm not using a second veto, but I would have had him much higher still.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, Paul, what are you saving him for, man? I'm going to predict your number 1, and I'm going to keep calling your number 1 until
you can try to predict it, and you might figure it out.
I think one of my top 5 is your number 1. I think that's my guess.
Probably. I think that would be the same for all of us, right? All right.
You would hope so. You'd
hope we'd all have some sort of, class or quality assurance. Those aren't the right words. Whatever. We're going to move on. I was trying to figure out the number while I was saying words. What?
We're talking Skinny Pete's number 1, right?
Yeah. I think
Something
we're at
like
23.
that.
I think this is pick 23 with
Yep, it's
with
23,
Paul.
and it's Matt. Oh no, it's Paul's pick.
It's
Yeah.
my pick. Okay, I'm gonna take off Cliff Main here.
Stop killing my guys.
Come on, he can't be like a top 10 pick for you.
He was 15.
Okay,
Dang.
so we're in that ballpark at this point. Come on.
Yeah.
I do have to say he got a little higher for me, not much higher, just because I like Ed Begley Jr.
He's not like, I mean, he's not a major part in the whole series. He's
No.
he's a good character, but like all things considered, he doesn't play a large enough role to
I really
move
like
that high up the list.
I really like his firing Jimmy scene where pretty much he just calls him like he's not an idiot. He knows how Jimmy's trying to torpedo the thing and he just calls it out for what it is. He doesn't understand it, but he's like, "Fine, if you're going to be a child, you be a child. That's fine. We'll get out of this. We'll give you the money back or whatever. You can keep whatever signing bonus. We'll be done with this. If that's how you want to play this." And like how the maturity he had and yet he still doesn't like torpedo Jimmy's name through the mud the way that Chuck does. And he still had a lot. I just really admire the patience and the professionalism both Cliff and Schweiker had in dealing with Jimmy. And that's, I think, why I like them so much. You know,
he was the audience surrogate of how some person in the real world would react to the like bulldozer that is Jimmy / Saul.
And it even makes Jimmy in that scene feel bad. He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, Cliff." He's like, "Dude, you're still an a-hole. Like, that doesn't change anything. You can be sorry all you want. You still did it." All right. Well, I'm not going to do anything about it. That's fine. Yeah. Brian, wait, that was Paul's pick, and no, Brian, right? 22?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to go Skinny Pete at this point.
That's fair.
Okay. I like him. I mean, again, there's not a ton that sticks out to him as just being one of the, Jesse's crew. And he's not as lovable as Badger. So that's why he's where he is.
He's more notable than Combo, but that's partially because Combo died. But he's a better character. But you're right. Badger is just so likable.
He is.
He's a fun part of it. So I have Badger a lot higher than I have Skinny Pete.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna pick more Salamancas, and this is just because they don't say a word. Yet it's
they're next for me.
They're good. They're good characters. They're a good physically intimidating presence, and they do a great job of the stone face. But because they don't talk at all, we don't get a lot to them, and so we got to pick the Salamanca twins at 22. Or 21.
I forgot about them, and for a second, I'm like, wait, you're not putting Hector or Lalo this low. So no, I agree with that. They are a very good intimidating presence, though.
Yes, and that's like the fact that they outlasted some of these other better characters that do have lots of lines and do have growth. It says a lot about just their physical presence on screen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Paul.
We're gonna test the waters here a little bit. This one, I'm not sure what kind of reaction I'm gonna get here, but my next pick is Huel Babineau.
I actually had him right at 20.
I had him a little higher, but that's fine.
Right. I thought one of you might have an attachment to Huel because he's a lovable character.
He is.
I do say his episode of Better Call Saul in Chicanery, that episode alone puts him a lot higher than he otherwise would have been if it was just him in Breaking Bad.
Mm.
Yeah. He's lovable. He's fun to have in the group, but the depth to his character is lacking, and so he doesn't deserve to be higher because you've got some very rich characters in this universe.
Hey Matt, do you remember last year when we talked about the Chicanery episode, which you can find on our YouTube channel? You described him as a Sharpie, where he's like a big fat Sharpie and a little cap.
I did, yes. He is a turtle of a man. There's your new quote about Huel. Every time we bring him up, I'm going to have just some other way to describe his tiny head and his large, broad shoulders.
Yeah.
All right. Is this me at 19? Is that where we're at? No, that's Brian, your pick.
It's right. It is my pick again.
I think you're at 19. I don't know numbers.
You know what? I'm gonna just go with the other half of the duo. I'm gonna go Badger here.
All right.
I know you probably may have had him a little higher, but again, he's a lovable character. But I think a little bit higher than Skinny Pete is about right for Badger.
I'm okay with it right there.
All right. Now we talked about how poorly written the female characters of Breaking Bad are, and for someone who is such a big part of the show, she's really shallow, and that's Marie. That's who I've got at 18. There's pieces of her that do go a little bit deeper, but there's so much of her, like she has the kleptomania thing that really doesn't inform much of her choices. That feels like a filler arc.
It went nowhere.
Her relationship with Hank is the most interesting thing about her, but she's kind of annoying. She's an annoying character. I don't feel like she contributes much to this universe, and so for all the characters that have depth, she is the most shallow of those deeper characters.
Yeah, I did like her at the end of Better Call Saul when she shows up at the trial for Saul. That was a really good moment for her. But
that was the best use of her outside of the phone call right before Hank dies, where it's her and Hank, and he's like, "Oh, I got him," and like that breath of sigh of relief between them, where it's like, "Oh yeah, no, Hank's gonna die now."
Yeah, Paul, you look like you were gonna put her higher.
Well, I do. I have her higher. I think she's the best female character. I think she's better than Skylar. I think she's interesting in that she's a little bit schizophrenic, but then at the same time kind of a stabilizing figure. And it's like, I don't know. I think she is a complex character, and I think she made the role pretty interesting. I thought she was pretty good, but I think, I don't know. I would have her a little bit higher, but I'm not like willing to fight over it.
Not to get PG-13, but I will just a little bit. Like her, to me, the most interesting, like my favorite Marie moment, weirdly enough, is when like Hank is being such a baby about getting out of bed, and she like is able to. She kind of makes a bet with him of like, oh, if I can get you, aroused and get you out, then you're gonna go. And so of course she does, and we do like the hard cut to him getting released from the hospital or whatever it was. Like she clearly wins, and she uses her feminine wise of like, yeah, you're being a baby, but look, I still have this power and control, and you're not so far gone as you think you are.
That's true. I forgot about that moment.
Yeah, you should have ranked her higher.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's on you, Matt.
That's me. You know what? I'll live with it. I'll make my peace here.
Paul, your next pick is gonna be the last pick on the bottom half.
After 17. Make it count.
Yeah, there's probably like 4 or 5 here that I'm going between, and I know that at least one of them is gonna piss you off. So I'm trying to figure out which one that would be.
Which one?
Okay, this one I'm not sure. I have a little bit of a hang up with this character because I remember him from another show, and that kind of ruins it for me. But it's Todd Alquist from Friday Night Lights. And I just can't get the characters because of what I know of him from that other show. It creates this just uncomfortable feeling with his character, and I think he is interesting, but I don't know. That's where I got him.
He is. I mean, he's uncomfortable here too because of just like this how much hatred Jesse has for him as soon as he shoots the random kid in the desert.
What's so good about this character, like Jesse Plemons, we all agree is such a fantastic actor, and so this was my first introduction to him. And what he does with his character is he plays a very naive, childlike, innocent character, but he's psychotic. And so being able to merge innocence with psychosis is a very unique dynamic that I haven't seen, and Jesse Plemons is the best to be able to do that. That's why I had him more at like 12, but we're still close to that, so I can't veto.
He's I mean, like, and the Friday Night Lights character is very it's more that kind of innocent, character too. So I just had a hard time with the juxtaposition of those two characters, and it just didn't. I couldn't buy it, but maybe that's unfair.
You gonna use one? I'm the only one who's used one so far.
You are, and I'd still have another one, but no, I can't. Like, I don't think you would. I mean, you would like purposely pick someone next to be like, oh, no, Walter White at 15, But
no, I would not do that. Come on, Todd Alquist at 15 is not like that big of a stretch.
Yeah, it's fine. He is in the teens, and it's a margin of error of a couple, so whatever. All right.
So I think I'm next with number 16.
16.
And I'm at the point I only have 2 more characters that I can't say that I love. So we're getting close to like killing every great characters every round pretty soon here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jane at 16.
Oh, that was my next pick. I was debating between Todd and Jane. So,
and she was a good character. I mean, yes, she meant a lot. We talk about characters who were just what they represent to Jesse, but she was interesting enough on her own to make it this far and be almost in the top half, I think.
I will say she's a big character. I don't know that she's an interesting character. Maybe that's harsh, but I just thought I was pretty bored by her.
I liked her. I thought, but what you're saying, Brian, is true, that she's interesting in how it affects Jesse and Walt and their dynamic.
Yeah.
Because so much of Walt's agent, like the linchpin of Breaking Bad, really rests with her death. Like, once Walt is watching her die, that completely changes him, and it informs his character for the rest of the series. And before that, I know we say it's Breaking Bad. When does he break? But there's not one point. But I'd say if there was, it would be letting Jane die.
That's definitely on the Mount Rushmore of his moments.
Yeah. So that's to me, like, why she's so important isn't anything to do with her. She's a good actress and makes her lines pop out, but yeah, it's more what she means to them. So we'll let her die too on this list.
Wow.
All right. Well, let's just keep the women's hate going, I guess.
Skylar's going too.
Yeah, I'm picking Skylar. We've talked about that. So Skylar is such a hard character because we would be on her side in real life. And we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
We'd be on her side in real life. And it's an unfair shake that she was given. But we are interested in watching how Walt is self-destructing and seeing him break bad and seeing this journey he's on. And she is an antagonist to that journey, even though she's wanting the best for him and their family and wanting him to, get his head back on straight. So it's unfair, the hatred she gets, admittedly, but it still is antagonistic to what we as the viewer want. And that's why I have to put her at 15.
Well, and she still has, I mean, I will say this about her, like, there's still that morally gray side to it. Like, I mean, she goes along with the whole thing. I know she feels kind of trapped into that, and she's not happy about it, but she does go along with it.
And her emotional therapy is an affair. So, I mean, that's not great.
Oh, yeah. Another character we could have put on that list was that Ted Beneke is also not on her list.
True.
If anybody was thinking we were saving him for the top 10, we're not.
We're not.
Sorry,
He's
Ted.
not on there.
We effed Ted by leaving him off the list. That's not a good joke. All right, well, let's go to number 14.
Okay. It's getting tough now.
Yep.
I'm surprised. There's a character that I'm surprised is still lurking around here.
Is it Steve Gomez?
It is Steve Gomez.
Yeah, that's who I'm gonna pick. He's just a likable character. You
Yeah.
gotta love the guy. He's a good guy.
Mhm.
He's he's exactly what you'd expect him to be just by looking at his face, you know. And
Yeah.
uh, he's uh, he's a fun character. Everybody likes him. It's hard to put him up, but he's not in the top 10 for sure.
But I like that they didn't never forget about him. Like when Hank or when Walter White is showing the coordinates to Skylar, he says that's where you'll find Hank and Steve Gomez. And at the end, it wasn't just Marie who came back; it was also Gomez's widow who came back for Saul's trial as well. So they could have easily just focused on Hank because he's the main character, but
Mm-hmm.
I like him a lot. I had him a couple spots higher, but he's in the ballpark of where I had him.
Yeah. And Steve hits back at Hank as much as Hank hits at him. You know, Hank throws these casually racist comments at him, and Steve he doesn't take them and cry. You know, he hits him right back and throws stuff at Hank too. And they have a fun dynamic, as fun of a dynamic as you can when someone's saying some of those things to you. So
Yeah. Ugh. I hate to put this character this list this low because we're at 13. And Paul, you're talking about always seeing a character as somebody else. Well, I will always see this guy as the professor from Saved by the Bell college years. I'm gonna go with Howard Hamlin
okay,
because I love how you hate him for a while because you don't know at first that it's actually Chuck who's pulling the strings behind it, and then it's like right before you see like his humanity and everything about him, that's when he dies.
yeah. He's one of more of the tragic characters of Better Call Saul because like Mike likes to use that analogy of talking about people in the game and not in the game, and Howard is not in the game, and he gets the worst um, thing happen to him for someone not in the game. He gets killed, and that's not even to mention the crap that Jimmy pulls, because they do a good job of us in that last season of, oh, what's Jimmy doing pranking Howard, and it's kind of fun, and it's fun to see him pull one over on him, even though we know Howard doesn't really deserve this. He hasn't
Yeah.
done anything to warrant this reaction, but it is a little fun, and we get swept up in the fun of it, and then oh no, the worst part of that happens. And right when he gives that speech, like, I'm going to be okay, I'm going to bounce back from this, this isn't going to stop me, something else does. And it's really tragic to see how that happens to Howard. He ended up being a lot better of a character than we anticipated in season one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think his character definitely developed over time, and uh, yeah, he became like maybe he started as more of an unlikable character, and you kind of grow an appreciation for him over the course of the season.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even though he's a jerk to Kim with Doc Review.
Yeah.
True.
All right. Number 12. I'm on a roll because I think my last two picks were Salamanca's, right?
Oh no, which way are you going with this?
We're going to go ding, 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 ding
Oh, Hector this low? Hector not making the top 10?
at 12.
Oh, I really want to use my veto, but I feel like I'm going to need it.
I
I
I
love
don't
Hector.
I don't want to pick my other one outside of the top 10, and I'll just tell you is Gale outside of the top 10, but I love both those characters. But I think so Hector deserves to be as high as he is, even if it's just for Breaking Bad. Even if it's just like this guy gave an Emmy-worthy performance while making a duck face and hitting a bell. Like, it's really impressive what he's able to do with his facial expression and how he's able to communicate his intense hatred for Gus and the police. And then we get to see more of him in Better Call Saul. So he is a good character. He's a character that's great to hate, but he does not hold a candle to the villains of Gus or Lalo, or however you want to call Walter, if you want to say he's a villain too.
Yeah,
Hector is one of my favorite villains.
I put Hector over Lalo personally.
I would-
Really?
We know
Really?
Hector more, and like Hector just his ruthlessness, like yeah, and I love. So the whole reason I knew going into Better Call Saul that Lalo had to end up dying was because when Gus has his final moment with Hector, he says, "You're the last Salamanca left. It dies with you." That's how I knew. Okay, then Lalo can't be around somewhere, otherwise that wouldn't be true. It just devastation at that moment was again acting without saying a word.
Yeah, and he goes out like a boss to kill Gus too.
Yeah.
Like what a way. But again, I can't put him higher than others on my list. Sorry,
Well, you could, but you chose not to.
I chose not to. You're right.
Fine.
I won't put him higher. All right, Paul with 11.
Okay. Okay. we're gonna test the waters here a little bit. I'm gonna pick Hank.
Oh, veto. I know it's my second one, but Hank is in my top 5.
Okay.
He's close to top 5. He's a 6 for me. He's a top one. So we'll
You
save
should've held out
conversation
a little
about
bit, Brian. You could have got Matt to throw out the veto.
I might have, but I definitely,
Okay. I will wait because we'll probably get back to Hank eventually.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
I won't give my reasons. All right, I guess. Man, I mean, every character on this list I really love.
Mhm.
To me, it's between Lalo and Nacho that's left, and I'm gonna go Nacho.
that's fair.
I had him one higher, but that's all right.
I think it's time. I mean, he's a good character, no doubt, but
Mhm. And to be the one who put Hector in that chair too. Like
Yeah. Nacho's the guy who goes through it in the Better Call Saul universe. Because, like, Jesse, we see him be a whipping boy in Breaking Bad, and Better Call Saul from, like, beginning of season 3 onward. Nacho is the guy that, like, everything bad is going to happen in the cartel world to him.
yeah, he really good point. He is like the Better Call Saul version of Jesse.
Yeah. And that final speech he has before he's going to die, where he like solidifies, no, you're not going to have any attention on Gus. It's all going to be on me. I put you in this wheelchair, and like that sort of thing to draw the fire and the rage was just such great acting, but a really well written monologue and great character moment for him to go out that way.
yeah,
But I get it. We're at that point.
we gotta
All right.
pick somebody.
All right,
We're at the
Brian.
Final top 10.
Pick
10.
what Paul likes.
There's only one name that I would be like veto immediately, but
I think there's 2 I've got, maybe 3 at this point for who you'd pick.
Well, there's only one character out of these 10 who I think is still a very lovable character, but he's not like couldn't be on like the Mount Rushmore, and I hate to say it, that's Gail Bedecker.
Yep.
And the fact that a character with so few appearances is so high in the list just shows what a great character he was.
it was such a good performance.
It was.
Yeah.
And
But
he's
it's such
like
a heartbreaking moment too.
yeah, and he's like in the game without being in the game. He's like he's kind of both.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not really devious and evil.
No, he was just in it for the science, and he looked up to Walter's mind so well. He didn't care about the money or the drugs at all.
I love the scene when they make the coffee and Walt drinks. Like, why are we making meth? What are we doing here? But
I mean, the scene in his apartment with
Yep.
the record. Like, I haven't seen this in years, and like that's one I can still really picture in my mind.
Yeah,
And listening
The
to the
teapot.
music, and it's iconic.
yeah, and that's another one. Like, we're talking about Mount Rushmore of Breaking Bad moments. Like, that was such a good moment for asserting Walt's control back. Was
Yep.
great for Walt. Was a great character moment for Jesse to see what he had to do and what he had to sacrifice and give up in order to stay alive and keep this thing going. And like everything that happened, all the fallout from the shooting Gale was great plot development for the rest of Breaking Bad. And so it was a great season finale to end with they made you like him and then they just shoot him. It's hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there really is no one safe in this show.
Yeah. I mean, it leads then to the next episode with a box cutter moment. And speaking of box cutter, we didn't have, what's his name who gets, was it Victor?
Yeah, Victor. I'm almost positive it's Victor.
Victor, and then the guy that replaced him with like the steel face too, that would follow him around. Then, what was his name? The bald black man. Well, everyone's
Tyrus.
bald in Breaking Bad.
I want to say Tyrus or Tyrus.
Yeah, something like that. We
could have easily made this like 50 characters, but that would have been like a 3-hour podcast.
Yes,
it's unnecessary. Like, people are here to listen to the top 10.
Yeah.
Oh, this is hard.
And if you're still listening right now, thank you for sticking with it.
Yeah.
Even if you skipped over the first 35 minutes.
Look, I love this character.
Well, everyone left is lovable.
We're talking about characters and depth, and this actor is so phenomenal, and we got a great actor out of this show, but I think his character might be weaker than some of them that are left. And I'm going to say with number 9, I'm going to put Gus Fring. I love Gus. He is
not
such
where I thought you were going.
Vito.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right.
You're nuts.
Well, I was about to say he's such a dynamic presence, but we'll talk about that dynamic presence in a moment. I don't want to...
I can't.
Okay, fine. I'm the Salamanca killer. Whatever. I'll just freaking pick Lalo at 9 then, guys. Obviously, that's all that I can do is pick Salamancas.
That's a much better pick.
I have Chuck pretty close too. And when Chuck died, it really left a vacuum in the show. And Lalo came in and filled it pretty well. Not as well as the conflict of Chuck, but Lalo was such a dynamic character. And that comes a lot from Tony Dalton's acting. But what he's able to do it with so little is really impressive. Like just asking Saul to repeat the story, tells him, say it again. Like just that line, and just say it again, and have him keep repeating it. And you can see how his brain's working as he's figuring things out. Lalo is such a smart, genius character that he clearly picks up on things no one else does. And that's what makes him so terrifying. And he can go straight from that, I'm smiling in your face, to I'm pointing a gun at you and pulling the trigger. He was the most dynamic Salamanca to me.
And he was very like terrifying. Like he's terrifying with a smile on his face, and you could tell he could kill anybody without a second thought.
Yeah,
for sure.
You didn't want him to have information because he was one of the best at the whole information is power, and so he'd take a little bit of what he would know. And speaking of other characters that we don't have, another one that I actually think should have been on here, that now that I'm thinking about it, is that the German head project guy.
Oh, Werner Ziegler.
Yes, that would have been a good addition, more than some of these others we killed at the beginning. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's fair.
All right. But that was a sad moment. That didn't have as much to do with Lalo, except for him chasing to try and find Werner.
Okay, my turn.
You're up at 8.
All right. In the spirit of not going back and immediately picking the Vito again, I'll wait with Hank. I'm gonna go Chuck.
Yeah,
that's where I had him.
It's hard, but
I thought Matt, I thought you were saying Chuck when you were like, this is going to be controversial, but
no, I had Chuck above Gus because the family connection to Jimmy really deepens his character. To the hatred that he has for Jimmy, it's so heartbreaking because you can argue the things that Chuck argues, and all three of us could have different opinions on Chuck, and we could all be right. Yeah, he's technically correct about Jimmy, but at the same time, is him not believing in Jimmy what created who Jimmy is? Is him being an antagonist, like spurred on that side of Jim? You know, all those sort of things. They're all true about Chuck all at the same time, and it's such dynamic writing. And then you, of course, have a genius level actor, Michael McKean, just killing it season after season. Mm-hmm. It's hard not to have him higher than this, but lots of good characters.
He's such a complex character, and just the way that he just wrestles with his own personal issues and his relationship with Jimmy. It's a phenomenal character, no doubt about it.
and he's an insecure character, and you can tell he's insecure, but in lesser hands we would see that insecurity be a little more obvious, but it's so subtle. It's so subtle, like just of him telling Rebecca the joke that he heard Jimmy tell, and like, taking credit for it. It's like just a very small moment of I don't feel comfortable enough of who I am, or how he always has to be the smartest guy in the room, how he always has to be right, how he can't make a mistake. All those sorts of things, they are really good ways to inform his insecurity without just pointing and saying, yeah, he's insecure. All right. Is that you now, Brian? Are you at 7?
That's me. Yep. I've been debating between 2 while you're talking. I think I'm going to make it a boys' club and get rid of Kim at this point in
Nope.
number 7.
Veto.
All right. Well, you know what? I was being nice because my other pick I thought would be more controversial. If I'm not going Kim, I'm going Jesse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I actually originally had Jesse below Kim, but I thought I was playing nice.
No,
Jesse, I
no.
mean,
We love women here, all right? We respect women, sir.
all right. I'm sure there are probably people listening to this who are pissed off that Jesse is this low. And I get that. Jesse is a great character. I mean, there's no show without Jesse. The Jesse Waltz combination is what it is. But after a while, it's more of the same with Jesse. Like Jesse, I think he gets his character development a lot sooner than Walt does, or some of these other characters do. And then that's why he's at 7 instead of
It runs out of steam
1, 2, 3.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do such a phenomenal job with Jesse of putting him through it and making you feel for him, because his motivation is just being young and not really knowing what he wants to do, and wants to do something good with his life, but doesn't really know what that is. So he's kind of stuck in doing what he thinks all that he's good for when we first meet him, and just slinging drugs. And then he starts getting good at it, and he starts to learn from Walt, and we start to see how smart he is. But at the same time, then they've, like, season 2, they just make him punching bag after punching bag, and you just feel so bad. And then he just calls Walt because he just needs some sort of help. Walt's like, don't you ever call again, and hangs up. It's like, dude, the guy just fell through a porta potty and he's living in an RV on an impound lot. Like, you've got to have some compassion for this guy.
Yeah.
And then he gets beat the crap out of him by Hank, and just left and right, he just keeps taking beating after beating.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to see his heart come out with kids, and how he really is impacted by how kids are treated. And he's like, this is a good person at heart. He's just making really bad decisions because he doesn't feel like he has anywhere else to go. And to finally see him take agency in his life at the end of the show was good. It was more empowering than. It's a great arc for him.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
All right. I don't know if we've got 6 left, and I could pick one that I know won't be vetoed, or I could pick the same one I did last time because I know you guys aren't going to put Gus at like 5 or 6, but I'll be nice and play the spirit of the game, because I have on my list at number 6, I have Hank, and I feel like everyone would be like, okay, that's a fine spot for Hank.
Yeah, I had him at 5, so that's closer, but a lot closer than wherever Paul was going to put him.
So, Paul, I've been nice. Just remember
I
that.
appreciate that.
Don't you kill the guy I want. Don't you kill my number 1.
I honestly don't know who it is.
Although I could see at least one of you having my number 1 as the same. So, but Hank is a character that if you told me how much I'd love him in season 1, I'd be like,
exactly.
No way.
Yeah,
he's such a jerk. And then he gets so humbled by his experience in Mexico. And then from the time, one of the most tense moments in Breaking Bad was 30 seconds, whatever it was. It was like the phone call at the end of that episode, and then the fight with the twins. Yeah. Such a dynamic scene. And it completely changed the course of his character. And then we get to the final season of him like figuring things out about Walt, and we see how he's the only one who can't let this go, but he's right. And he keeps chasing after it, and then he finally finds out it's Walt. And then we get those like the power plays between him and Walt, and it's just really engaging, and you're on Hank's side and you're like, you don't want this guy to die, especially after the phone call with Marie and he finally catches him, and then you know it's going to happen, and his death is really sad and tragic.
Yes.
And even for Walt to see that happen.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta love, like, he's definitely, he might be the most lovable character in the entire series. Like, he's got so much good about him. I think the only thing that I would say critical about him, and the reason why I had him ranked a little bit lower, is I just felt like there was some weakness in his character. Like, there were some moments where he was kind of like, yeah, like, I mean, you mentioned he was being a wimp at one point, and like he wouldn't get out of bed, So, and I think he was a little bit naive for a cop, and for somebody that should have figured it out a little bit quicker, maybe.
Yeah.
I think his thought was so black and white that he never even thought that Walter could be ever on the other side of like dangerous. He thought so little of Walt that he didn't think he could be a villain.
Right.
Yeah. At least he thought the world of him in terms of his intelligence. He knew he was smart, and like Hank had a ton of respect for Walt's intelligence, but just not in any sort of respect for him as like that sort of manly, like, I'm going to provide my family, or I'm going to do something that's truly great. Like, this guy's just teaching high school chemistry. He's a little bit of a sap. He's smart, but he's a sap, and I think that's what eats at Walter as well. And so informs his character. So it gives us a little bit more too of why Walt's the way he is and why this is so important to him, what he's doing. So that was my pick. Hank at 5 or Hank at 6.
All right.
5. Where are you guys at with your vetoes? I'm out.
I
have. Yeah, we both have 1.
Okay.
So hopefully we have the same as you, Brian, or else you're not going to get your number 1.
Okay. I would wait another round based on the veto, but I feel like this is the right spot for Kim, and I think, Matt, you would even maybe say 5 is a reasonable location at this point. Like, I think Kim's a great character, but I just don't see her cracking the top 4. I think 5 is actually a pretty generous spot for her. So I'm going to go with Kim, not because I don't think she's a great character. I think she's the best female character on the show. But I think, like, as far as, like, if you compare the two series, I mean, she's significantly better than any of the female leads in Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah.
And does a great job on Better Call Saul, is an engaging character right from the beginning, and you cheer for her, but she's a complicated character too, so I think she's a great character, no complaints, but this simply the time.
I don't think we're ever not on Kim's side, though.
Yeah. Well, maybe when she starts to kind of sabotage her career, when she like really picks the fight of the one landowner who's being forced out, and was like, is this the fight you should be picking, Kim? Is this what's going to be best for you? That, and I'd still say, we're on her side in terms of like morally, like we want her to succeed, but we want her to make, in my opinion, I wanted her to make a better choice than that. I was like, I don't, I'd not decide with a big corporation or a bank, but they're being very reasonable.
Which another character we could have included was I forget his name, Rex Lynn's character, the Southern bank owner guy. Yep. I liked him a lot. He was kind of a jerk, but I liked him.
What they did with Better Call Saul that they missed a little bit with Breaking Bad and writing the main female character is that Kim was able to still have the same, for the most part, the same moral center. She made mistakes, of course, but everyone does. But she tends to be on the right side of conscience. She has a good conscience, but there's this alluring side that Jimmy brings with him. And there's this side where he's able to get things done and he's able to get things accomplished, but he's also able to do it in a fun way. And there's so much life that he brings to Kim outside of her stuffy office of paperwork and blah, 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 that is appealing. And so professionally, she might not agree with Jimmy, but she really loves what he brings to that relationship. and she lets herself go along with that, and realizing where that goes wrong is
Mm-hmm.
one of the most heartbreaking moments in Better Call Saul. Is her line where, Jim's like, but I love you. It's like, yeah, but so what? Like that's hard to realize. Like, that's a lot of maturity to realize you're not good for me, and we can love each other, but what you bring out in me, I don't like that person, and so all the love in the world isn't going to do anything.
Yeah.
That's why I have her at number 3 technically, but that's all right. 5 is okay.
Now, so I think all the 4 that are left is somebody's number 1 who's listening. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
And
the 4 people that are listening.
This one, Mike, you never know, because randomly we for Thanksgiving we did one of the Friends Thanksgiving episodes, and it got over 1,000 views on YouTube. So you never really know.
You never know. It's all the bots. They listen to us to know about Friends.
They gotta
I
find out
must
the
know
ranks.
love.
Well, that's why, because of that, when we did our will they won't they couples, I made sure that the thumbnail picture for YouTube was a picture of Ross and Rachel, just maybe try to get some of those people over.
Look at
It's
that.
all the ranking websites. They're actually they're listening to this to get their lists.
Yeah.
Keep our content out of your hands.
All
Come
right.
on.
Well, I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid and maybe piss some people off. Number 4, I'm going Walter White.
Again,
I had him at 4. I had
Okay.
Kim above Walt.
that's my 4 too.
Yep.
I'm almost disappointed that you guys aren't mad about that, but
I'm glad I don't have to use a, because if you know that I want to get Gus out. If you would have said either Mike or Saul, I would have had a hard time. I'd have had a hard time with that.
yeah. No, I agree. And I mean, obviously, I just like I said for Jesse, there's no show without Walter, and then we wouldn't have even had Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
And I mean, just talk about masterclass characters, and like to think that they almost didn't even get Bryan Cranston as Walter White because he was just coming off Malcolm in the Middle, and they couldn't see him being serious. And I'm so glad they won that fight.
Yeah. Okay, Walter White. Obviously, phenomenal character.
Yeah.
And Bryan Cranston, unbelievable job portraying that character. And it's like the thing that I love about this character arc is you go from like feeling for the guy to hating the guy to feeling bad for him to respecting him to liking him to despising him. I mean, it's just a constant change. But also, like, when it comes right down to it, he's not a good person. So
Terrible.
Even like of the 3 other names on this list, I'm fine with Walter White being behind Gus, because at least Gus is who Gus is. Like, and Walter White has this like kind of self-righteous attitude, but he's just as devious and just as evil as Gus is.
For as smart as Walt is, he is so unaware of himself.
Yes.
And we see that in so many different ways. We see that in him thinking he's the mafia kingpin, and like, I love, of course, the "say my name," you're Heisenberg, you're GD Wright. Like, that's a great line, and that's a great delivery, great moment. But he is not all that, like, sure, he's the best at what he's doing, but Jesse makes almost as good as him. And so, like, showing that no one else can possibly do what he does. Well, someone else can do it. Or like thinking after his wife commits adultery with Ted, and then he gets fired from school, and thinking the principal is coming on to him, and how uncomfortable that was when he goes in to kiss her. Completely unaware of himself. The whole "I'm the one who knocks" speech, thinking like, oh, that's so, and everyone quotes that like, oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah, he's the one, he's the danger, great. No, he's like a child saying that. Right. He's so unaware of how petulant he is and how unimportant he is in the grand scheme of everything.
And I will say, like, the way that his character ended, the way that he died, was perfect writing.
Yeah.
Like, he died if the fact that he dies that made the show. Like, that was like the perfect ending.
Yeah. and even saying to Skylar, like, I did it for me, to actually have recognition of who he is. Yeah, this wasn't a crusade to save my family or whatever. This was, I finally found something I was good at and I liked it. That's his motivation. That's what he did.
Yep.
Yep, I have no problem with Walt at 4. Paul, I might make you use a veto. I'm gonna say Gus at number 3.
I knew you were. I'm gonna use it. Yeah.
Oh gosh, you have to make me choose, man.
I don't. I want to make you choose because I don't want to choose between the other two.
Well, then I have my one veto left, so I get to choose who's number 1, 2 in doing this. So if you don't say Gus, I'm gonna use it.
Very nervous now.
I love Mike so much, but I can't put him at number 1 overall. He was my number 2, so Mike ends up being number 3, unfortunately. And what a career for this character to go from what only is in the show because Bob Odenkirk couldn't be in that episode, so they got this Jonathan Banks to do this episode as this other character, and he does such a good job with it that like we need to give him more stuff, and they keep expanding his role. And then by the time he's done with Breaking Bad, he's Emmy nominated for the last season. He should have won, in my opinion. He did such a phenomenal job. And like then of course you bring him in for Better Call Saul because he was so good at what he created in Breaking Bad. And his biggest thing that I loved about him, well, there are lots of stuff, but I really loved his speech about half measures.
Yep.
And how that informs his character, because we actually still see that as his weakness. Throughout the show, we keep seeing him taking half measures, like with Lydia or like with Walt when he should have walked away. Like there's so many times he knew the right thing to do, but he couldn't do it, and he committed to a half measure, and because of that, it was his downfall. And so he tells us at the end of season 3, I think it was, what his problem is, and he keeps doing it all through the rest of the seasons.
He even went out of his way to help Mark Proc's character, the nerdy guy who was making deals for pills with Tuco.
Yep.
Because he could have just let that guy get killed, but he helped him get his baseball cards back because he knew if he didn't, that guy would just he'd get himself killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, obviously, Mike is one of my favorite characters on the entire series, but like the whole like connection to his family too is a really endearing thing about him too, because it's like he really wants to like keep that part of his life protected and isolated, and so there's that tension too, and he's just such a great character.
Where did you guys all have Mike at?
I had Mike at number 3, right where he's
same. I mean, it's playing out perfectly for me right now.
It's all going according to plan.
Although I think, Paul, I think our number 1 and 2 are flipped probably.
Yeah. So then, Brian, you and I have the same one. Real quick too with Mike, I really like the honor he has, even in a system full of dishonor. Even working with cartel, like working with these unhinged people, and he's just such a calm, steady presence. And that he has the brass to even say to Gus, of all people, is like, "No, we're not going to do that. This isn't going to happen," or stuff like that. Like the way he advises, or like when he talks to Lydia, who's less intimidating, but when he talks to Lydia in Better Call Saul, when he does the whole security thing. And he finds all of their gaps in their security. It's like, well, if I'm going to be the security consultant, I better have something to consult about. Like, he is so meticulous and just knows the right way to go about it. I just love him. He's fun to watch. And they make meals out of his stakeouts, out of his, Mike's up to something. We're going to take 12 minutes to show you him preparing for it without telling you any reason of what he's doing. And you're going to find out later what his plan is.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. Now we can get to number 2.
Right.
Don't make me use my veto.
I'm not going to make you use your veto. I'm going to pick Gus as number 2. I think that's the right spot for him. Okay. And I will say, so Gus is what Lydia was not, in that he is the unexpected villain he obviously he dresses professionally. He owns a chicken restaurant. He plays it off perfectly, like he's just this ordinary business owner from South America, and just a nice, calm, friendly guy. But he is 100% believable as the villain. Like when you find out who he is, you think this man is truly maniacal. Like, and he just, it's first of all, the acting is incredible. Giancarlo Esposito, right?
Yep.
Yeah. He's just incredible. I mean, I think he's just does such a great job of portraying his character. I think he's like the villain that I actually kind of root for, and in some ways, just because he's so clever and so interesting and so complex. So Gus, amazing.
I think the first time he turns off his friendly, calm Gus, was that when he basically says to Walter in the middle of the jungle, in the middle of the desert, like, I will kill your wife, I will kill your son, I will kill your infant daughter, and like that, you see like that, like the mask coming off in that moment, and that's when like, oh, I knew he was a villain, but now he's like a villain.
Yeah. And again, we talked about the Salamancas with like not saying anything. I think of the box cutter episode when he doesn't say anything to them. He comes down. This is the fallout after shooting Gale, and Walt is doing his scheming because Walt over-explains. He overplays his hand at times. He's talking out of his butt, and he's like trying to manipulate. Like, so he's saying all this stuff to Gus. And Victor had made the cook before. He's like, oh, I can do it. And so then Gus picks up the box cutter, kills Victor in front of him, and then I think he only says something like, the work will continue, or whatever like that, and he leaves. Like, that is commanding a room with presence. And that is 100% Giancarlo Esposito. He's fantastic. And to the credit of the other actors, Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul, they sell the reaction to his presence. But the only reason why I would have had him just a little bit lower is because, especially in Breaking Bad, there's just so many good characters in this universe, and they're all so deep. I would say the depth of his character and his backstory, it was there, but it wasn't quite the Bible says love covers a multitude of sins. Giancarlo Esposito's acting covers a multitude of left out backstory. So like we remember him because he just does such a good job as the character. And I'm not gonna say the writing's bad in any measure, but I think we get better writing for his character and more agency in Better Call Saul than we did in Breaking Bad.
Sure.
Yeah. Which is why I think we've all said, do we all kind of agree that Better Call Saul is the better of the two shows, but they're both great?
I would agree with that, but I mean, it's like neck and neck. It's not like there's a huge gap between them.
I think Better Call Saul is what it is because Breaking Bad was what it was.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah. So I think it started on second base.
Yep.
And I think Breaking Bad was truly something like the first of its kind in a show like that. So for the originality factor, I think I'm gonna go Breaking Bad, but it's, I mean.
And then I throw the other side of that same coin, because you're right, the original factor does factor in, but the other side of it is then how do you take something familiar and build on it into a way that it stands on its own while also rivaling the original. And so they did enough different while also still being familiar, and they were able to walk that narrow line very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously I have no choice. Well, actually it works out great. For my top five, the only difference from my top five going into what it ended up being was I had Hank at 5 instead of 6. But otherwise, this worked out perfectly for me. Obviously, our number one is Saul Goodman / Jimmy McGill. And I think it's hard.
Should we just not talk about him at all?
What?
Should we just not talk about him at all?
Yeah.
Should we just
All right,
end
that's
the
it.
episode?
Everyone, thanks for tuning in.
Like a lot of times with characters, when you take a character and you give them backstory they didn't have before, sometimes it's too much. Like you don't need to hear about it. But they did it so well with like the whole series of Better Call Saul being like he's not even Saul, he's Jimmy, and
Right.
yeah, and it was just it made him such a compelling character. He could be the comic relief goofball, or he could be like the emotional center of it, and like he has such a dynamic range, the actor and the character.
Well, and the crazy thing is, like, in Breaking Bad, like, Saul wasn't a deep character. He was just a sleazebag lawyer. Like,
He was a cockroach.
Right. To like and because I mean Bob Odenkirk is such a great actor, and I think they realized they had something absolutely gold there. They really took that and built that into his story. I don't think that was ever intended to, I don't think they ever had the thought of him being this complex character with this kind of soft side to him. But man, it's just brilliant. It really is.
Yeah, it's nuts how he can he can play all these different spots, and they construct this whole story around like a couple different lines, like it wasn't me, Lalo's the one, or Ignacio's the one, or whatever, like that one throwaway line he has at the quarry, or like when he makes the joke of like, one time I convinced someone I was Kevin Costner, and you know what, it worked because I believed it, and they do a callback to that. Like they pull these couple different lines and they construct mythos around all of this. And then they give him a depth so that when we do see Better Call Saul come up again at the end, or I'm sorry, we see the Breaking Bad version of Saul Goodman come up again at the end of Better Call Saul, we realize how much of an act it is. And we see the mask for what it is. And it informs a lot more of what he did in Breaking Bad. And it's brilliant to work backwards that way. And that's why, I had said before, the Breaking Bad finale was just perfect. It was a perfect finale. Better Call Saul is really good, but they had more to do because they had to give closure to his stuff with Gene in Nebraska. They had to give closure to Saul, and then they had to give closure to Jimmy. They had to put 3 different characters to rest at the end of Better Call Saul, and they handled all of them really well. It was a great arc, and it was so captivating, and I recommend it always to people when I'm like, this is premier peak television.
Now, talk about a sliding doors moment here, because Bob Odenkirk was very nearly Michael on The Office.
Yeah.
And if he would have gotten that role, I mean, think about what that would have done to The Office. Like, I just don't think that would have worked in the same way. I don't know that it would have been the success that it was. But then also, does that jeopardize the fact that he ends up on Breaking Bad and then ultimately the Better Call Saul franchise?
Well, he was on Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad during The Office, so he wouldn't have been able to do both.
Right. But I mean, who knows? The Office might have gotten canceled. So maybe he still gets it.
Yeah, because Steve Carell, there's no one like Steve Carell to play that character.
So if Better Call Saul was never made, it was just Breaking Bad, and we're doing this podcast ranking only Breaking Bad characters without Better Call Saul existing, where would Saul have been on the ranking, you think?
Oof.
He probably would have been top 10 still, but at the lower end of top 10, I think.
I think so, too.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems fair. You'd also have to take out, there'd be less, some of the other good characters that were in the top 10 are Better Call Saul characters too. So
Nacho, Kim, Lalo, and Chuck would have been gone too.
Mike might not have been number 2 for me, but he still probably would have been top 5.
Yeah.
Skylar would have been much higher. Better Call Saul just really paints a different picture of her.
Someone who's not even mentioned in Better Call Saul, I don't think.
All right, Brian, I didn't write them down, but I would imagine you have them written down. What are our top 5?
Our top 5 are Kim Wexler, Walter White, Mike Ehrmantraut, Gus Fring, and Saul Goodman / Jimmy McGill at number 1.
Outside of Gus, those were my top 5 as well. Not in that specific order.
You didn't even have Gus in your top 5.
Nope.
You're crazy.
He was in top 10, though, so there's that.
Oh, such a great character.
I know there's going to be people who are mad that we don't have Jesse in our top 5, but
Yeah, I think I had-
I'm very pleased with myself that he wasn't in your top 5, and I got him at number 2, which is where I had him. So
Nice.
we're gonna say I won.
Okay, that's how that works. Well done, Paul. Good job. We always come on and you're able to win these things. I'm really proud of you.
even though I also said that my top 5 is almost the same, but we'll give it to you. Paul won this one.
Well, we weren't boring, guys. We didn't have Walt as number 1. We did have one of the mains as number 1, but that's okay because he's such a good character.
We did pick both candidates for Michael from The Office as number 1 in both our rankings. So because Michael was number 1 in our Office rank,
and no one ever considered Jonathan Banks for.
Should have been Dwight, but
no, it shouldn't. Shouldn't have been Dwight.
But Bryan Cranston directed some episodes of The Office, so there's that.
Hey, and he said he saved the cast from getting carbon monoxide poisoning.
Jenna Fisher saved the cast from getting carbon monoxide.
Oh, that's right, she did.
But yes, he listened, which is important. Yeah. All right. Well, I know, again, I'm imagining we've got a little bit, we've got a lot of fans of Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, and there are a lot of those in the world that exist. So all those who are listening to this, who have watched those shows, you probably all have your own individual rankings, and you might agree, hey, Saul should be up there, but maybe you thought Walter, maybe you thought Gus, maybe you thought Mike, maybe you're Jesse. Like, why is Jesse not in the top 5? Let us know. There's a lot of validity to all of that. The only validity would be that wouldn't be there would be if you're like, Tuco should be number 1. I'd punch you right in the throats. All of them. All throats.
You still had him too
low. 32 out of 32? I don't think that's too low.
I also think that we should let people know that if you like Better Call Saul Breaking Bad, this is the 4th Breaking Bad / Better Call Saul podcast we've done.
You did say Breaking Ball.
I'm going to break past that. Yeah, we and we actually have a Breaking Bad / Better Call Saul playlist on YouTube if you want to listen to all 4 of those.
Yeah, and maybe I represented Gus in a different way in the other ones, and maybe I was just being breed bait today and wanting to debate.
I don't remember. It's been a while.
Chicken? Do you not like chicken? Is that your problem?
I actually don't like chicken all that much. No.
Oh my gosh.
I just got back from a cruise, and Royal Caribbean, they had like the best chicken tenders and popcorn chicken I've ever had. Their breading is fantastic. And I had more chicken on that cruise than I had in like maybe the year leading up to that. So nice and fat, because that's what chicken does. It makes you fat. I don't know.
Chicken's like the leanest meat.
I'm not a scientist. I don't know these things, Paul. Well, Brian, what was our trivia from last week? And by last week, I mean quite a while ago.
Yeah, we block recorded and then we took a month off, so it's been a while. But the last time we recorded, we talked about Stranger Things season 5, and I asked Eleven's training outfit in the beginning of season 5 was modeled after what 80s character, and that was Josh Brolin's character from The Goonies had that same outfit that she was wearing.
What was the character's name?
I should probably know that.
I knew he wouldn't know. Got him. You're welcome, everyone. I'm trying to keep Brian on that level for us. He's not unlimited knowledge. He's not Abed. He doesn't know all these things. Brian, I have a trivia that has nothing to do with Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad, but it has to do with this date. Do you want me to do that trivia, or do you want us to do Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad related trivia?
First of all, the character was Brandon Brand Walsh, and it's up to you. I thought of I have a trivia about Breaking Bad.
Perfect.
You go do yours.
I'll just say my trivia after you do yours.
I looked it up from 2 different sources to make sure it was right. But what is the last line spoken on Breaking Bad?
I'll have to think about it.
Yep.
I remember what the exchange was, but I can't remember exactly what was said. But that's your trivia. Let us know. The trivia I was going to say, it's not trivia. It is instead wishing happy birthday. We're almost at March 31st, 2026. I want to wish a happy birthday to William Daniels, 99 years old on March 31st. William Daniels, you might know him better as Mr. Feeney or the voice of Kit from Knight Rider.
Or he was on St. Elsewhere, or John Adams.
Yeah. He is 99 on March 31st. So,
Dang.
again, has nothing to do with that, but we're posting pretty close to that date. So you can celebrate it in your own way at your house. Have fun with that. Until next time, I'm Matt.
I'm Brian.
I'm Paul.
I'm reminding you to stay tuned and keep watching.